Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. So it's quickly approaching, guys, the Bitcoin halving, and we kind of lost track about the Bitcoin halving because of everything that's been happening in the world. Stock market crashing, crypto market taking a bit of a dive as well. And I feel like because we were kind of caught off guard, we aren't really focusing enough attention. It's coming up next month. Some people are speculating that Bitcoin price will be going up. Some people are saying that, the price of Bitcoin, it's already kind of baked into the price. So there's not much that's going to happen after the Bitcoin halving. And so how is this going to affect altcoins? So I have this here from Anthony Pompliano at @Pompliano on Twitter. The argument of the Bitcoin halving is priced in is dumb, he says. If incoming daily supply drops 50%, then you would need a 50% drop in daily demand as well to keep the same price. Good luck if your thesis is built on the idea that demand for Bitcoin is going to drop 50%. Bitlord pipes in here. He says, yeah, the Litecoin halving wasn't priced in either. Kind of saying in a tongue-in-cheek fashion that, Litecoin soared before its halving, and then as soon as the halving happened, Litecoin dropped in price, and that was, I believe, February 2019. Yellow Card here explains it with emojis. Supply going down, demand going up, Bitcoin equals rocket ship. And so if you want to get a little bit more technical with the explanation, Plan B here on Twitter at 100 trillion USD says, to maintain a price of 7,000 per BTC since October 2017, Bitcoin must have had about 400 million new cash inflow every month for the last 2.5 years. So 30 days times 24 hours times 6 blocks times 12.5 BTC times 7K, assuming all trading is a zero-sum game. They go on to say after the halving, we only need 200 million per month to keep that same 7K level. If 400 million stays, then boom, rocket ship, which means that Bitcoin price will rise. And so I understand Bitlord's point here about the Litecoin halving, and I also understand Anthony Pompliano's point and Plan B's point as well, mirroring that sentiment. Now we have here the Bitcoin chart here on a logarithmic scale, and the red lines represent the halvings that have occurred in the past. We have one here from November 2012, July 2016, and here is a big question mark, May 2020. So I decided to plot these lines myself on a Bitcoin logarithmic chart just to kind of go in to be able to see in more detail what actually occurred after the historic halvings that we saw. In November 2012, we did in fact see a big spike in Bitcoin price. So right now I have Bitcoin here on the weekly. So each candlestick represents 1 week. There were several weeks where we saw some flat movement, and then boom, all of a sudden, Bitcoin price went from roughly $12, $13 all the way up to as high as $267 back in 2012, early 2013. Again, this took several months though. Okay, so November 2012 finally reached a high of about $267 by April 2013. The next halving was back in July 2016, guys, and you can see here, this trend kind of shows you how the idea that Bitcoin price is kind of baked in. I don't know if you guys can see if I make it so that you can kind of get an idea of where the trend was going. Before the halving, okay, in April, May 2016, we saw Bitcoin skyrocket from about $443 all the way up to about $784, okay? The halving in 2016 occurred, and then we slowly saw Bitcoin price go down, okay? Going down from about $679 all the way down to a low of $481, that same price that we saw pre-halving. Again, let's not forget that this is Bitcoin on the weekly, so each candlestick represents a week. So in the short term, I can see how this would make sense. You could see some decline because the price of Bitcoin is already baked in. But guys, if you look at the longer term, okay, and if you continue to look at the trend on the weekly, you can see that Bitcoin price steadily went up to its all-time high of about 20,000 per BTC at the end of 2017. So again, let's not forget this was early, or rather mid-2016. A year and a half later, Bitcoin hit its all-time high. Now, what could this mean for this current halving? Well, we did see a big stark decline in the crypto space due to the pandemic. Now we're seeing Bitcoin price slowly rise. Are we going to see Bitcoin price rise back above 10,000 or maybe even 14,000 pre-halving? And then are we going to see it decrease again? I think that's likely. I think it's quite likely. I think people are predicting this Bitcoin halving, and they are playing that number. They're playing on those predictions that people are going to want to buy up after the Bitcoin halving. And what will they do? They will sell their Bitcoin. And depending on if you're a whale or not, of course, this is going to have a significant effect on the price, considering the crypto market is significantly smaller than traditional stock markets, let's say, around the world. And what is this going to mean for altcoins? Well, if we look at other altcoins, like Ethereum, for example, we saw Ethereum make some significant moves in 2017. Here's January 2017, and Ethereum didn't stop for the entire year. 2017 was a great year for Ethereum. XRP, if you look at XRP, we also saw XRP move in 2017, and then when Bitcoin really took off, it took a little while for XRP to gain that last leg of the bull run, ultimately topping out at about $3.80 by January 2018. Let's go back to Ethereum for a second here. Same kind of thing happened. We saw a big move, then we saw a lot of basing, and then it wasn't until the last half of 2017 where we saw that move. Ethereum topping out by January 2018 as well. And if you go back to Bitcoin, though, you can see that Bitcoin was still the leading indicator because Bitcoin topped out by December 11th, 2017, and then started dropping by January 8th, 2017. Bitcoin was already down to about here. So at least for the top three cryptocurrencies by market capitalization, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP, we can see that Ethereum and XRP did follow in that bullish trend after the Bitcoin halving. It took several months because Bitcoin continued its bullish pattern throughout 2016 and into 2017. And so the question is this is the big question, because is this year going to be different? There is a halving that is taking place, but we are under unique circumstances. There's the pandemic that's going on. Stock markets of the world are collapsing. The economy is very uncertain at the moment. So we'll have to keep an eye on this, have our sell orders ready in case we do see an unexpected pop. I'm not ruling it out altogether. Historic behavior is usually a good indicator of future behavior, although we are in a bit of a different space. The logic does make sense, though. If all we need is half of what is currently going into the market, then if we keep our same levels of cash inflow for the Bitcoin market, we will see Bitcoin rise, and that will likely pump the rest of the cryptocurrency market. Guys, I saw this from XRP Crypto Wolf. South Korea's central bank has launched their pilot program for testing a digital currency. And so this from the block Crypto, essentially stating that South Korea, in a news announcement today, Monday, the central bank said the program was launched last month and would run until December 2021. So the 22-month program is aimed at identifying technical and legal provisions required to create and issue a digital currency. On the technical side, the program would analyze expected legal issues when introducing CBDC and accordingly prepare a specific amendment plan for the Bank of Korea Act. The pilot program schedule is set as follows, and then it gives us a schedule ultimately looking to end December 2021, so quite a ways away still. I found this interesting. It was worth noting that the Bank of Korea said it is not necessary to issue CBDCs in the near future because the demand for cash still exists, among other factors. However, it still needs to be prepared to respond promptly in quotes, to future changes in the payment sector. So these guys very, very aware that the payment sector is likely to change over the coming year and a half. Okay, governments of the world have already been hinting at this. Ripple has been making record amounts of partnerships throughout 2019 and even 2018. And so we keep saying too that this pandemic could push these things along, and so it's apparent that South Korea does believe that CBDCs are the future, and they are kind of taking their time with the rollout. They're still testing it, but they are prepared at a moment's notice if they need to react and be part of a new emerging financial system that they seem to think is at the doorstep. Some interesting news there out of Asia. I saw this from MacAttack XRP at MacAttack XRP on Twitter. And get this, guys, over 200 million XRP was wired anonymously through a couple of wallets when XRP hit the price of 18 cents. So while the price of XRP is rising slowly but surely, the coin is standing at 18 cents at press time. Anonymous investors, both retail and institutional, are actively pushing gargantuan amounts of XRP between each other's wallets and sending them to major crypto exchanges. 211 million XRP was transferred. So the data shared by XRPL Monitor shows that over the past 8 hours, a mammoth-sized amount of 211 million XRP was sent between numerous wallets. Some of them anonymous, some belonging to corporate investors. Others were set up and now used by top crypto exchanges. So That's $39.5 million worth of XRP. You guys can see the XRPL monitor snapshots down here in this tweet. Some of the crypto exchanges that took part in this were Binance and Bithumb and BitHomp. So what could be happening are big institutional investors getting ready for a potential sell. If they start seeing that price of XRP pump based on the Bitcoin halving, and we've already started to see price move. This morning I woke up and XRP price, let me just put it back here on the hourly. XRP price hit that resistance level of about 19 cents on the hourly. And so some people are assuming that we are going to continue to see a move upward. And, the crypto market has got the Bitcoin halving behind it as a possible catalyst for this altcoin pump. So are these guys getting ready? And 211 million XRP is nothing to scoff at. These guys are obviously, as they say here, pushing gargantuan amounts. And these guys are likely corporate investors, institutional types, looking to trade XRP at this moment in time. And at such a low price point, when the price moves, and there is lots of money to be made. So I don't doubt that some people are, waiting for those smaller moves to catch a little bit of cash on the uptick. We'll wait and see how that goes as the story unfolds. And guys, I saw this here on Twitter from XRP_Stewart. This video from 2017. So Ellen Brown is the founder and chairman of the Public Banking Institute. And she says, Bitcoin, it's just too slow. Much computing power. This model is not going to work. And then when referring to banks, she says, well, they're using Ripple. They're looking at using it and liking it. It's very efficient. It's good for everybody and it's cheaper. And for those of you guys who do not know who Ellen Brown is, she's the founder of the Public Banking Institute. So in 2008, when excessive and careless practices of big Wall Street banks plunged the United States and much of the world's economy into recession, that's when she founded this organization. While most Wall Street institutions were bailed out by the US government, cities, states, and working Americans were left to fend for themselves. Ellen Brown, an attorney and author of Web of Debt, began researching alternatives in the banking and financial sector that might empower regional governments, Main Street, and the middle class against the ruthless hegemony of Wall Street and the big banks. And so she's a proponent for the democratization of banking. And, if Ripple didn't exist, I could see somebody like Ellen Brown looking at a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and thinking to herself, you know what? This is fundamentally what we need. We need a currency that isn't tied to major powers, that can be distributed amongst the world so that payments can be democratized without using a middleman. And it's quite possible that this sentiment would have existed before Ripple was founded and XRP existed, or at least existed in the mainstream. I thought it was interesting what she has to say. I'm not going to play you guys this full video, but I want you guys to listen to a few points here.
And you can't give 7 billion people Bitcoin accounts because it's just too slow. But they can use crypto. Well, not a distributed ledger that's global. That will not work. And it's because of the whole nature of the concept of Bitcoin, which is like gold, which is a thing that you have to mine and you have to track it from point to point to point. And supposedly you have to keep track of it. And all these computers, it already takes as much computing power to do one transaction as it takes as much electricity as a household uses in a day. And this is for a very small portion of the money supply. But I would say that the whole cryptography idea is great, and what has come off of blockchain is great.
So this woman has clearly done her research. You can see this guy over here on the right-hand corner getting a little upset. He seems to be a Bitcoin maximalist that really, really wants to get his point out. But Ellen Brown is essentially giving the reasons why this is just not going to work on a larger scale. A lot of these reasons we already know about. Bitcoin was never created to bank the masses. Despite what any Bitcoin maxi will tell you, the fact of the matter is it just can't scale. Let me just bring the video over here just to kind of give you guys a wrap up of what Ellen Brown is talking about here.
Now what they're using is something they're using Ripple, which is a series of blockchains or a series of ledgers, which is what banks do anyway. They clear ledgers within their own bank, and then at the next level they clear them at the level of the Federal Reserve, and at the next level they clear them through the SWIFT system. So this cryptography that they're looking at and using and liking is very efficient. It's good for everybody. It's cheaper. You don't have to have all these middlemen. But it is not literally a universal distributed ledger, which actually won't work.
So she goes on to describe DLT, the Ripple ledger, and how it will successfully aid the current system to bring banking into the 21st century. Okay, it's all about the movement of money, making it secure while also making it fast, easy, and cheaper. So again, guys, this video from 2017. Nevertheless, it's always good to kind of go back. You know, I find that there's not too much happening right now in the XRP space. When there is breaking news, I'm trying to bring it to you. We are constantly looking at the chart to see what the Bitcoin halving will bring for the altcoin market. And so within the last month, 6 weeks or so, I've kind of thought to myself, you know, this is one of the darkest times we've seen in our lifetime, economically, personally, for a lot of people. You know, many people are out of work right now, and a lot of our investments are down. But at the same time, it's also one of the most exciting, because out of a crisis like this usually comes change, and the financial system is needed an overhaul for a very, very long time. Anyways, guys, that's just my opinion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.